Okay, this is my review of the first episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, which I am doing. I'm watching at the recommendation of my godson, Micah Dittmer. So I watched this first episode, and it really hooks you from the start because you start off with a scene of one person saying that he's from Jujutsu High, and he's going to be executing somebody else. And then it's like, who's this? Who's that? You don't know. And then it pops over, and it turns out that this is going to be the story of how you got to that scene. And this is mostly about a dude named Yuji Itasori, I think. And he's in a little club at school. They're all required to be in a club, and he's in the occult club. And then there's a thing about how his coach tried to sign him up for a different club, like track and field, and then they weirdly challenge each other. Where the coach challenges him and says, if you beat me at throwing a ball, then you can be in whatever club you want. And so they go out there, and the coach gets like a world record, but then Yuji like crashes the ball completely to the other side of the field, and then he can run like 50 meters in 3 seconds, and something very weird is going on him with like being super powered. And then there's this other dude dressed all in black, super goth, and I think his name is Fushimura, and he's the guy from the beginning that was going to be doing the executing. And he's all like, hey, I'm looking for a cursed object, and I think you have it. But meanwhile, Yuji's grandfather died, and he was kind of acting like a butt, except that at the end, he was like, hey, you should be a good person, and then he died. And so that's when Fushimura shows up, and he's looking for this cursed object, but turns out he's been like tracking it with spiritual energy, but it turns out that he was just tracking the box that used to be in. Because Yuji had the box with him, but he was like, oh, that little weird burrito-looking thing, I gave that to my friends at the occult club, and they're going to open it up. So they start to run out there because apparently it's really bad. And Fushimura explains that, like, every high school has a super cursed object in it because it keeps away, like, it's got to be super evil to keep away lesser evils, which does not make sense, but I love it. And so they go out there, and they're all unwrapping it, and it turns out it is the finger of someone named Ryomen Sukoni, I think. And when they unwrap it, all of these weird, gross, like, creatures start showing up, and they're called curses. But instead of being a curse like I think of a curse, it's like they're just like monsters. And you normally can't see them, but they can see them because they're in a special place. And maybe there's a dead body buried in the rugby field. That's a question mark. But anyway, whatever the case, all these things are out there and they're fighting. And then this gross human finger is like at the center of it. And so Yuji decides he's going to eat it so that he can get the strongest cursed energy and defeat all the other curses. And then Fushimura's like, no, don't do it. But he does it, and then he turns super evil, and he says he's going to massacre women and children. But then, like, the original Yuji is also, like, trying to fight back and take back his own body. But Fushimura doesn't care. He's like, I'm going to have to exorcise you. And that kind of, like, brings it full circle back. And I like it because it's got good pacing. It's interesting, the idea that, like, these high schools are all part of, like, in Japan, there's like 10,000 deaths and disappearances a year, and they're mostly curses. Like, it's supposed to be these invisible, gross creatures that are killing people, and it's all a big secret. And that's interesting. And it's a cult club, which everybody thinks is a, like, loser club and worthless, turns out to maybe be helpful. And so that's episode 1, and I'm looking forward to going forward with more.